So you're both right. And I know that that's kind of a strange answer, but in terms of like the online interactions, anybody can pretend to be whoever that they want, right? The issue is that you don't have a whole lot of proof to validate whether or not they're telling the truth. So you're kind of going in a little bit blind in that situation. When it comes to like in-person interactions, people can still fake the funk. Um, but you get a little bit more validity in what it is that you're seeing. You get to see how they interact with other people versus how they interact with you, right? In the case of the Tinder swindler, I think if we're honest, because that's not the only person that's happened to. Women do it too. You're absolutely right. There's a level of like people wanting to lie to themselves for the sake of liking you, right? So it's not that the truth isn't in front of them. It's not that they don't see what's going on. Is that they're choosing to believe the BS because it reinforces the fact that they already like you, right? And I think that's where you get a little bit more say so from the in-person interactions, is that you do have that choice to believe the person or not, regardless of the evidence that's being shown to you.
Yeah, that sounds like the comedian effect. A comedian might not necessarily be as funny, or you might not be laughing as much, but if he's a likable comedian, you're not really that upset that he's not as making you go ha 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 ha. If you're likable, people will sometimes give you more rope, whether you're a comedian or whether you're on a date. But, you know, I agree with you. I agree that, listen, like, cats be out here. They be lying. They be faking the funk. And I do like a genuine interaction in person because you can play out the environment. You can see certain mannerisms, certain tells. How do they respond in like random situations that don't go well? You can learn a lot about a person in person. I just personally, just from experience, that genuine people, whether they're online or they're in person, you know, people be lying.
So catfishing, right? That's just basically you trying to set somebody up, right? Where you really don't have intent. Is it that you really do like them, but you don't think the other person would like you, so you pretend to be somebody else? Or is it more along the lines of you pretend to be somebody else because you're not really interested in a person?
So there's varying degrees of catfishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like the hat fishing, the guy who doesn't have any pictures without a hat on, so you have no idea what his hairline looks like. There's height fishing, the guys that tell you that they're 5'11", but they're 5'9" once you meet them in person, right? Women do it too, right? Like there's weight fishing where, it's a one particular angle and it's only from like the chest up in all of her pictures, or all of her pictures are heavily filtered so you don't really know what she looks like. It's not always as extreme as like pretending to be a whole different person. Sometimes it's as minimal as just like hiding one aspect that isn't considered socially desirable, right? And then there's everything in between. So it gets a little bit tricky where sometimes people feel ashamed about something, or they feel like that's the thing that's going to stop them from meeting their person. And if they can build that on with you, they're hoping that you'll overlook it. Or, it's full on catfishing and like they just don't feel like you would like them if you saw what they actually look like.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's some trolls out there too. Like they'll play with people and get all the fun out of it, and then ghost you out of nowhere. But
Catfish.
yeah, but I think it's interesting because I had this funny story. So when I was younger, me and my boy, he went to go meet this girl that he met on Facebook. And he was like, "Oh, this girl looks great," and she took these great pictures from this angle. She always had makeup on, this, that, and the third. Let me tell you something. He didn't have a car at the time, so I took him over to meet the girl, and she walked over through the parking lot. And let me tell you something. He was like, "Bro, is that her?" Now, mind you, she's still walking. She can see us, and I can see her. Well, we were locking eyes at this point, and he's like, "Bro, drive off." I said, "Bro, I said, we can see her. Like, bro, what do you mean? You got to see this through, my boy. You know what I'm saying? You can see her. She was like, she said, bro, she do not look. This not what I saw
This
online,
ain't Janet Jackson.
bro. When I tell you, and then she opens the door. She was there. I was like, hey. He was like, hey, man. When I tell you, I was just like this.
Can you only catfish when you're online dating, or can you catfish in person?
Yeah, you can always catfish everywhere. Like he said, like Enon said, if you only wearing a hat when you see him, he probably ain't got no hair, right? Or she always wearing weave or makeup or heels. You know what I'm saying? Like people know sometimes learn their weaknesses, right? And so they'll do what they can to cover those weaknesses so that they can secure the deal, right? My problem is I just don't be caring. You know, I make sure that the certain things is make sure we smell good, make sure the beer is taken care of, and all this other stuff. But for the most part, listen, you're gonna get a genuine HD. You know, if you think I'm a butthole, I mean, it is what it is. You think I'm a nice guy, I don't care. Like the simple fact of the matter is, I don't change who I am no matter where I'm at. So you're just gonna learn real quick that you're gonna like it or you're not.
So do you think that catfishing only goes by appearance? Do you think people can catfish you by just the things they tell? For example, he can play like he's got all this money in the world. Catfish.
I mean,
he can play like, oh, I want this relationship, but he just wants to sex with you. Gotcha. Like, so are there like different levels of the catfish, or is it just physical?
No, it's definitely people definitely catfish personalities. Like sometimes people seem like really sweet and really caring, like they're really good people. Like, you get them in the right circumstance or the right conversation, and things start to seep through, and you're like, I don't know about all those things he said, right? So like, it's definitely a personality thing too, right? Because like, what's that thing? In the first 6 months, you usually have the representative. So it's personality just as much as it is looks. And I guess like money goes with personality, because for a lot of people, money changes their personality, whether they have an excess or a lack of. So no, I think people catfish their personalities too. I think it's another word for that. I'm not sure, but we'll go with catfishing.
it's called
in person.
Manipulating. Listen, so let me ask you a question. Oh, go ahead, Miss Bacon. Did you have something?
No, I was asking for clarification with Inaz. Did she mean is another word for like catfishing in person versus online?
Well, just your personality opposed to your body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or people play like they're totally different people when it comes to these catfish. Like, have you ever seen that TV show? They like don't even be like, some people can manipulate and make themselves look better, but these people be actually taking other people's photos off of their pages and putting it on their pages, just because they want companionship in the form, even if it's just over the phone, they just want companionship. And it's like a real thing.
Y'all ever watch that show, The Circle?
No.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this reality TV show, but they all interact with each other only online. Mm-hmm. And some of them are catfish. And so they try to like suss out who's the catfish and who's a genuine person. If you want to understand the dynamic of like the looks versus like the personality and all the different ways people catfish, watch the show. You'll have a deeper understanding of like how crazy catfishing can be.